All right, let's dive in. Today, we're stepping right onto the digital battlefield. You've got the cybersecurity defenders on one side, working to protect all of our data. And on the other, the most common, most dangerous threats trying to break in. This right here, this is the defender's playbook. So let's kick things off with the big question. It's a question that sounds like it's straight out of a movie, doesn't it? You imagine secret codes, crazy algorithms. But the truth is, it's often way, way simpler. And honestly, that's what makes it so surprising. It's usually less about a hacker finding some super secret backdoor and more about them just casually walking through the front door that someone forgot to lock. In fact, when you look at the vast majority of websites and applications out there, the entire game, the whole fight, really just boils down to this one number: 10. That's right, just 10. 10 critical flaws that are responsible for most of the chaos. And these aren't some mysterious brand new exploits either. Nope, they're a well-known, well-documented list of common mistakes that attackers know like the back of their hand. And for anyone who's trying to build a solid defense, knowing this list isn't just a good idea, it's everything. So this list actually has a name. It's called the Owasp Top 10. You can think of it as the cybersecurity world's most wanted list for web security risks. It's basically the 10 commandments of what not to do when you're building something for the web. Now, to really get how to defend against these things, we have to put on our black hat for a minute. We need to think like an attacker. So let's pick one of the most common and damaging attacks from that list and just pull it apart. See how it really works from the inside. Okay, say hello to threat number 3 on the list: injection. The idea behind it is actually pretty simple. An attacker tricks an application by feeding it a little piece of malicious code that's disguised as totally normal user input, like something you type into a search bar. The application doesn't know any better, so it just says, "Okay," and runs the command. And the damage from that simple trick? Oh, it can be absolutely catastrophic. For example, by sneaking just a tiny bit of database code into a search bar, an attacker could potentially steal an entire user database. Or they could inject a malicious script and completely hijack people's accounts. Yeah, make no mistake, this is a really, really big deal. Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a big, scary one. So what's the solution? How do we possibly fight back against this stuff? Well, just like the attacker has a playbook, so does the defender. And it all starts with having the right foundational toolkit of skills. This is basically the essential gear. According to the Google cybersecurity certification, a great analyst needs to be a master of network security. They need to really get the fundamentals of things like Linux and SQL, and they have to know how to use professional tools like CIEMs, which, by the way, stands for Security Information and Event Management. These tools help them keep an eye on everything happening on a network. It's all about knowing how to spot a threat, and just as important, what to do when something bad actually happens. So, how do we actually connect these skills to stopping the threats we've been talking about? Let's draw a straight line from one to the other, right now. This is where all that theory becomes real-world defense. Let's start with the absolute #1 threat on the Owasp list: broken access control. To put it simply, this is kind of like having a key that's supposed to open your own apartment, but it can also unlock every other apartment in the entire building. So what do attackers do? They just start trying different door numbers until they find something important that's unlocked. So what tool do we pull out of our toolkit for this one? Network security and threat analysis. This is the skill of understanding the building's entire layout, knowing exactly where all the doors are, and being able to predict where an intruder is probably going to try to go next. And boom, here's the solution. When a defender applies that skill, they put in a simple but incredibly powerful rule: deny by default. What that means is no door opens unless you have the specific key for that specific door, period. The attacker's whole strategy is just shut down completely. Those weak permissions are gone. All right, let's run that play one more time, this time with our old friend, injection. Now remember, this is the one where the attacker tries to trick the database by sneaking in malicious commands where they just don't belong. The direct countermeasure for this is all about mastering the fundamentals of SQL. Look, if you want to defend a database, you have to speak its language. You've got to be fluent. You have to be able to spot the difference between a totally legit request for information and a dangerous command wearing a clever disguise. So the specific technical solution here is something called parameterized queries, and the logic is brilliant. It creates this super strict separation.
It tells the database, hey, listen up. This part is the command you need to run. And this other part over here, that's just user data. You never, ever treat that data like a command. Just like that, the disguise is blown and the injection attack completely fails. It just can't work.
So you see, for every threat, there's a skill and a solution. But this isn't a game you just win once and then you're done. The attacker's playbook is always changing, which means the defender's playbook has to evolve right along with it. And that's exactly why learning can never stop in this field. As this quote from the Google report points out, the future is already knocking, and it involves amazing new tools like artificial intelligence. Defenders have to be ready for whatever that next wave of challenges looks like. AI is quickly becoming this incredibly powerful partner for defenders. I mean, it can hunt for threats faster than any human ever could, it can automatically sift through thousands of alerts to find the ones that are actually dangerous, and it helps security teams respond to incidents in record time. It really is a game changer.
And that brings us to one last thought. As our defenses get smarter, faster, and more automated with tools like AI, the attackers, well, they're going to have to adapt too. Their old playbook might start to fall apart. It really makes you wonder, what kinds of threats are even going to make the top 10 list in the future?